Okay, your new Lexus GX550 has already been recalled. No, I'm not making this up. There's been a recall on this GX550 transmission and it's not even out yet. Maybe that's why you haven't got it. Okay, Toyota just announced that there are 280,000 vehicles that may creep forward in neutral. Essentially, there's been a transmission recall on the TNGA-F platform. That's the same platform as your new Lexus GX550. Essentially, all the 10-speed transmissions that are in these TNGA-F platform trucks have just been recalled for a safety issue. This recall affects the TNGA-F platform again. So this is the Land Cruiser 300. So yes, the Land Cruiser 300s have also been recalled due to this transmission issue. So all your TNGA-F platforms, again, the GX550 is a Land Cruiser 300 minus the front locker and 60 horsepower, no matter what anybody says. And we know this now again because the transmission on it has just been recalled. So the Land Cruiser 300, and in America it's going to include the Tundra, the Sequoia, is all TNGA-F platform. So it's recalled. Now, it's not just a Toyota Australia, it's Toyota India. It's all around the world. They're all being recalled. There's a transmission ECU problem, and let's see what's going on here. If we scroll down, we can see that it affects the Tundra, the Land Cruiser 300, and your Lexus GX550 because it's the same exact 10-speed transmission. So what happens? All right, so basically let's read it verbatim. For involved vehicles, due to an issue in the design of a certain brake clutch disc inside the 10-speed transmission, the brake clutch disc may not immediately disengage when the vehicle is shifted into the neutral position. If this condition occurs when the vehicle is on a flat surface, sneaky, and if the driver does not apply the service brake or the parking brake, it could allow the vehicle to inadvertently creep forward at a low speed of approximately 6 kilometers per hour, which is a little under 4 miles per hour, which could increase the risk of a crash. So what does that mean? So this is your 10-speed transmission inside your GX550 and all vehicles on the TNGA-F platform affected by this recall. What does this mean in the real world? Essentially, when you put this thing in neutral, so when you put your GX550 into the neutral position, it should free up any gears. So no gear should be connected to the engine, and the gear should not be connected together. And what Toyota is essentially saying is when you put this thing into neutral, it will still be engaged in essentially drive, because that's usually the last gear people have it in. So when you put this thing in neutral, it's still clutched up. As you read, the clutches are still engaged. So you'll put this thing in neutral, and it'll still be clutched in drive. And it will slowly creep forward since it's kept in drive. And, imagine the wear on that. Who knows if it's a solid clutch or a little, pathetic medium type of clutch, which could cause premature wear, as this thing is kind of halfway clutched up and halfway not clutched up, wearing itself out. So that's a wear issue, but there's also a safety issue as well. The main safety issue comes from when you're on a hill like this. So you're going off-roading, and if you decide to put this thing in neutral, which you shouldn't do anyway, but let's say you do, and you've got a rock or something in front of your front tires here where the mouse is, or maybe your rear tires, so you put it in neutral, and the thing's not going to go anywhere. It's just a slight incline. Since neutral doesn't really disconnect the transmission from the engine, you actually will drive forward over these rocks, or you might not even have, you might just be in a little divot or pit, like you see this little, it just might be enough to keep you in and keep you rolling away. But if your transmission is not disconnecting from the engine, you'll actually creep forward, as the recall says, and the car could creep forward and then roll down the hill. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube of cars rolling down hills when people don't set the brake. But you certainly don't want your GX550 driving itself down the hill when it should be in neutral. So this is going to be a testament to all us conservatards, and let's admit it, we're all conservatards. That's why we like Toyotas. Those conservatards that said, never buy a first year of anything. Well, this is proof to that claim, because the GX550 is not even out, and it's essentially already recalled. So what's the remedy? What does the remedy involve? Basically, a ECU software update, and it'll take you about 30 minutes. So you drive your GX550 or the affected vehicles to the dealer, and they'll basically update the vehicle. And Toyota says, yeah, you can drive, just be safe and make sure you have the brake on in the meantime. So you can drive before you get your car fixed by this recall in the meantime. Now, obviously, the GX550 is not out yet, and presumably, before you take delivery of your first year release GX550 in the coming weeks or months, that Toyota will hopefully have, or Lexus will hopefully have updated the software on these GX550s. Still, it's a little bit concerning. In fact, it's very concerning because this is what people say. This is what I was rambling about earlier, when you shouldn't buy the first year model of anything until the bugs are worked out. Well, this is definitely a bug, because let's be honest, is this really a software issue going on with this transmission, or is the software update simply a workaround? In other words, a band-aid. It sounds to me that there's something deeper than a software issue going on with these transmissions. But that's simply speculation. It's going to be up to you to decide if this is just merely, oops, the software is a little buggy in the transmission, or is there a bigger, larger mechanical issue actually going on? Again, that's up for you to decide. But 280,000 Toyota and Lexus vehicles recalled for transmission. Again, that's all of them. That's every last TNGAF platform, including the Lexus GX550. Now here we see the Lexus LX600, which is also affected by this recall. And again, you're going to have to decide, is Lexus and Toyota being honest here with the reason for the recall? Now again, ASIN makes the world's best automatic transmissions. That's been proven. What it's not proven, however, is, their brand new 10-speed transmission. And again, this is getting back into the, are you going to take a risk on a first-generation thing? Or are you going to let the bugs kind of play out and let the problems and glitches kind of materialize, and then decide if you're going to buy the vehicle or not? So ultimately, it's going to be up to you to decide if it's worth the risk now that you have this information that this vehicle, this GX550, is essentially under a recall right now, before it's even been released. This is probably why people who pre-ordered GX550s, who were promised these things, have not actually received them yet. They haven't received their GX550 at the actual dealer because Lexus is most likely scrambling to figure out what's going on with this TNGAF 10-speed ASIN transmission and its recall issues, essentially. So I'm assuming that that's the reason why people haven't gotten these vehicles yet. Even out here in Southern California, where they're supposed to roll out first, we've only seen prototypes and testers on the road. People who have actually signed up to get them have not received them yet. And my guess is they are internally dealing with the issues with the transmission, and they're either software updating them, or they're who knows what. Toyota's not going to disclose everything, obviously. Thus, we have to interpolate on what we do know. Again, this amount of Toyota and Lexus vehicles literally means all these transmissions have an issue worldwide. It's going to be ultimately up to you to decide how serious this is and what kind of risk you want to take with your Tundra, Sequoia, Land Cruiser 300, GX550, Lexus LX600. There's two sides to the argument, and the first side of the argument, and by the way, this is you and your Lexus GX550 with your dog with no third row overlanding. But anyway, there's two sides to the argument. One is that it's just a software bug. It's no big deal. Ace and Toyota and Lexus know what they're doing. You're going to be A-okay. And it's just a little software, feature or glitch or quirk, if you will, and it's not a big deal. That's one side of the argument. The other side of the argument is this is what you see here. You don't want your car to creep forward and hit some kid on a bike. And then, so this is a safety issue. But then there's a third argument. And this is really, I'm rambling, I know. But the other argument, the true second argument, other than safety, is that it's a deeper mechanical issue. It's a more serious growing pain, and that the issues cannot truly be fixed with a software update. It can be band-aided with a software update. It can be patched with a software update. But there's probably something internally going on with the transmission. Again, this is just theory, but if you believe this, then it may be in your best interest to wait it out for subsequent years of this Lexus GX550 to see if they actually fix the issue for real. Now, when I say for real, I'm not implying that Toyota's lying to you and they're just putting on a Band-Aid with the software update. But you know, and I know, and you know, there's a difference between hardware updates and software updates. And anytime someone says software update, it's usually on the Band-Aid side of things, on the workaround side of things. And anytime someone says hardware or mechanical update, it's on the, oh yeah, this is really going to fix the problem side of things. So it is up to you to decide about how you're going to deal with this recall here. You have to think this through. You have to decide the risk reward on all these Toyota TNGA-F platforms with their 10-speed transmissions that are already having issues.